Welcome to Capital Region today. I'm so happy you're joining us today. We have a great lineup today with lots of show and tells, which I love. And well, let me tell you who's coming on. We're going to be talking about reptiles, and we have a guest that is a presenter from the Viaport Aquarium, and he's a reptile exhibit. We're going to be talking with him, and we're also going to be going over to St. Peter's and to learn about their Armenian Flavor Fridays, Friday Flavors, I think it's called, and we're going to find out how you can get a great dinner and you don't even have to get out of your car, so stay tuned for that. And then we're going to be learning about the Juneteenth celebration that will be coming up, and they're looking for some fundraising, as always. There's always that little bump in the road. You need to get your money ahead of time. So we will be talking with them about when that is going to be and how they're planning that one. And then we're going to be talking about one of the great topics is fashion. But where's it coming from? The Schenectady Historical Society. We're going to find out how they were working with the Oneonta students in fashion and textiles and how they're working together to have this exhibit. So we've got a great lineup today, and I'm so glad you're joining us, as I said. But we are going to start out with, we have Randolph T. Duncan with us, and he's a reptile husbandry, and he presents as well. And he does schools and everything. So let's say, give a big hello to Randolph. Hey,
Hi,
Randolph.
how's it going?
Who do you have with you right now?
I'm going to start off with Izzy right here, and she's a bearded dragon. They come from Australia, and they're one of our cool animals at the aquarium. So what we try to do, we try to show aquatic animals, of course, and also the terrestrial cousins or their counterparts that cohabitate in the ecosystems. So I'll start off like getting her excited. It's her breakfast.
Oh, breakfast.
Yeah.
What do we have for breakfast?
So we got a dubia roll.
Oh, look at this. Oh my goodness. Oh,
table.
yes.
So what we do with our hands-on animals is we try to give a new engagement with our guests and show them something a little bit different. Of course, everyone gets a little bit shocked and surprised that they see a giant lizard or a snake at the aquarium. They don't really expect it, but aquariums having tanks, it's something we do in the hobby where we do keep these animals in glass enclosures or other terrariums. So it was really cool. And she's from out in the deserts of Australia. So
this is an Australian.
Yeah.
Their habitat is Australia. Are there any in the United States?
Well, they're in the pet trade. So they've been here since the 90s. They were imported, but now you can.
And if they get loose, who knows, right?
Yeah. So Izzy is a rescue. So she was someone's pet they had at a point, and she was a little bit tinier than this when we got her. And
how big will she get?
She's actually done grown. She's a female. So females usually get around 18 inches long. And then males will get about 24 inches long in length.
Okay.
So males are bigger than the females, and that's because the males are a little bit more flamboyant with their neck right here.
Oh yeah.
They get the name bearded
Well, they got
dragon.
to show off to the females, don't they?
Yeah, they'll actually will puff up and turn their throat all black. And females usually have a blush of yellow around the eyes and ears. No more food, Izzy. We're done.
Does Izzy understand that?
Yeah, so...
I hope Izzy's not looking at our table because we have some good goodies on this table.
I know, that's what I was worried about too, because she does like to eat vegetables and other fruits. Now, their diet is actually 80% vegetation and 20% protein. So They will look for anything shiny or fluttering in the desert, especially like shrubs or berries that come up, and they will just run towards it. They can run about 8 miles per hour in their back legs.
That's pretty
so they're
fast.
Pretty quick. Yeah, so I wanted to get her a little treat so she's focused on me. So we do target training with some of our animals. So even our sharks at the aquarium are target trained. So they actually will recognize an object, and that will stimulate a behavior where they will actually go up to that object and get the reward, which would be the treat. So Izzy knows sometimes when I bring out the tongs or tweezers, she knows she can focus.
That's her Pavlovian.
Yeah, that's the stimulus right there. So she knows that if she focuses on that, there might be a treat on it. But I have to move it away so she doesn't get too excited. But she's focused on me. She's really
Now,
cool.
why would Izzy make a good pet? I mean, obviously you rescued this one, but someone thought it was going to make a good pet. So tell me why.
So they are a better pet compared to like getting like a monitor lizard or a giant iguana. They can be indoors, and they can be in a nice terrarium enclosure that's about 3 to 4 feet long and about 3 to 4 feet in height. They do like to climb and move around, so they do need to get their exercise. And they're easy to handle, so they are easy to like put on my shoulder right here and hang out. So they're easy to walk around with. You can put a leash on it, and it's safe for kids that if the animal fell, it's not gonna they're not gonna crush it or break it. So you have to still be careful and make sure the animal goes to the vet, get like vet checkups, just like getting a dog or a cat. But they do better just being indoors, especially in upstate New York. The weather isn't great, so most of the time it's a little bit chilly. So you want an animal that
Well,
can
their
stay.
temperature, do you find them in a desert, like an Australian
so they're
desert? So
maxed-
therefore they want a little bit warmer weather.
Yeah, so their max temperature has to be 110 degrees, and they need about 12 hours of UVB, which is stimulates synthetic sunlight. So you either can do both UVB, and then during the summer months in upstate New York, you can have your bearded dragon outside during the hot times, so usually high noon.
And it would help them even.
Yeah, that actually will help with their absorbing calcium and vitamins, so they don't get something called metabolic bone disease, which actually is
Well,
almost
the same thing with humans, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if they don't get the right sunlight, they can get like really deformed muscles. So that's something I have to worry about with all
That
the
could be a
animals.
fashion statement. You do realize that,
Yeah,
right? I mean, you
it's
could
really
walk
nice.
around with that, and people would say, "What an interesting pin you have on."
Yeah, it's like Velcro. She just sticks there.
I wondered how she's hanging on there. Is that she's got little suction, or no? It can't be suction.
No, not suction cups. She has long claws. So they will climb up on sandy
And she's
rock
not
and
hurting.
branches. Nope, she's not hurting. So I do trim down the nails. I'll either take a little
Bring her
nail
to the
clippers.
manicurist, right?
Yeah, to get her all a little panicure. And then also I put a slate rock in her enclosure so she can crawl and scratch on that, and then I would dull down her nails slowly over time. She doesn't really like nail clippers, so I try to do it not as often. So I try to put the rocks in or have her
Yeah,
walk
have her do
around.
it naturally
Yeah.
rather than that.
But she's
Now,
really
doesn't
good.
she like to have a mate with her? Or I mean, can she be okay alone? Or
Yeah, she could be okay alone. They are social, so sometimes if you have a large enclosure, so the enclosure I said about the 3 to 4 feet, just double that. So if you have like an 8-foot enclosure, something that's almost like a small room in your house, you can have multiple.
just what everybody has, an
Yeah,
extra room
some
for
people have small
your,
rooms.
for your bearded dragon.
Yeah, some people actually do that. I have a friend in the Philippines. She actually has the whole house is for her female bearded dragon. So the females are communal; they can live together. But if you mix two males, they get territorial and they'll
Well, of
bite
course,
each other.
yeah.
But a male to some females, you just need a bigger enclosure to house them, and then that will make the animal comfortable. So if they need their space, they can go to the one side, and then they'll claim their little territories or spots in there. So it's just like just cohabitating. You just have to be a little bit more careful.
And they don't appear to be an aggressive reptile.
Well, Izzy's calm. Like in the wild, if I try to grab a bearded dragon, it's gonna hiss and bite and try to get away.
Oh, okay.
So in captivity, they start to
Because
get.
she knows you.
Yeah, she knows. I mean, she's actually she recognizes our uniform. She's a little bit different when I don't have my uniform on. Yeah,
Is that right?
Yeah, during COVID, I was wearing a black face mask just to be safe, and that mimicked an adult bearded dragon being territorial. So she was bobbing her head and puffing up and turning her throat black. And it took her a while to recognize. I had to usually take my mask off, and she was a little bit calmer. But when I put the mask on, she was a little bit irritated that I was like thinking that I was going to claim her enclosure or her little territory.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah, they're
because
one of the
their
smartest
visual
reptiles.
cues are really important.
Yeah,
of course.
They do the head bobbing or puffing up, but they also wave. So that shows submission or recognition. So the first time I actually worked with her, I thought I was going a little bit crazy. I didn't sleep for 14 hours, just working nonstop. And then one day I came in the office, and this was right when we got her. She actually stood up, looked right at me, and started waving her hands.
Meaning
at
that
me.
she knew you?
Yeah, she recognized. She's like, "Oh, I know that person," and 'cause
Okay.
she recognized like, "Oh, this person or this thing feeds me and pets me." So she was
Takes care of me.
Takes care of me. So she started waving. I didn't realize what was going on. It took me a second. I didn't believe what was going on. And then doing more research, I guess like they do more waving with their handlers. I worked with bearded dragons in the past, but they never waved at me. They just kind of give me dirty looks. And
But this one, well,
yeah.
it's a female, you know.
Yeah, I guess I got her attention.
Now tell me, do they hear? I mean, what's their auditory?
Yeah, so they do have ear. Their ears are almost hollow. If I had it like up at a flashlight, you can see from the other side of right here. So there's a membrane covering the ear canal right here, so that it stops debris getting inside. So they like to dig. So when they're nesting, a female can lay around 40 eggs at a time, and she'll bury herself in the sand to cover the eggs, almost like a sea turtle.
Okay.
But so they want to make sure the debris doesn't get inside their sinus cavity. Even her nostrils are concaved at an angle, so when she's using her head like a shovel, the debris doesn't really get inside of her sinus and cause like an infection or cause irritation. So they're made for that desert terrain, almost like a Mad Max movie. They got the spikes and everything going for them. They look kind of intense, but they're harmless.
Okay, and you've also brought.
I got some other cool animals. I'm gonna
Yeah,
put
he's
her
going to
back.
get it. He's going to take a quick move over to his cages. Most of these animals are in cages, so they aren't roaming around the room. Because and this one especially might frighten someone who wasn't prepared to see one in the
hopefully
room,
someone
in
doesn't.
this room.
So this
Yeah.
one is from Central and South America, and it's a really unique animal. We just got him last year, and he's our largest
How much does
reptile.
how much does he weigh?
So he's close to 10 pounds right now, the last time I weighed him.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll sit on the table, we'll see.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I don't knock the table down. This is a boa constrictor. So boa constrictors come from the New World, and they're a large species of snake. They're actually the third largest species of snake you can find in the New World. The largest is actually another species of boa, but a different family. They're called green anacondas and yellow anacondas. So they're...
So an anaconda is a boa?
Yep, it's a type
Oh,
of boa.
I didn't realize that. Thank you.
So
Okay.
boa days are usually found in the New World. So you'll actually find them in the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, and then you find them in actually North America, all the way from California. So you have like rosy boas or rubber boas.
Now this is an albino.
Yeah, this is albino. So this is a really cool part of. He has a recessive trait that actually makes his skin yellow.
Okay.
And he just lacks all the dark pigmentation. He still has a little bit of red, and they actually sometimes
I
are
see
called
that
red
there,
tail
yeah.
boas because they have a nice blood red tail, and that they're actually trying to study so they might think it uses for attracting its prey in the jungle. So if they're in the deep forest, they usually have like a nice brown and black pattern, and the pattern breaking actually will confuse the prey that come by or predators.
Oh, because of the, yeah.
Yeah,
So
so-
now he, I guess it's a he.
Yeah, he.
I mean, I don't know how you figure the sex out on
And
that
so
one,
it's a
but
little
I'm
bit
not even
tricky.
going to go
You
there.
have to usually probe the animal to get his reproductive organs to
Okay.
pop out, and that's usually, if anything pops out, they're called hemipenises. That is a male.
Okay.
If nothing pops out, it's a female.
It's a female. Now, I noticed that the tongue is out. Now, I understand the tongue is used as sensory as well.
Yeah, so they use that tongue for tasting and smelling. So what they do, they'll flick the tongue out and they'll taste the odors in the air, and then they'll
Oh,
pull
it tastes
back.
the odors.
Yeah, so if there was like fecal matter from a rat, it actually would taste the ground and it'll follow the urine trail or feces trail where the rat
Because
is.
it's looking for a meal.
He's looking for a meal. So they actually sometimes will be a little bit more active during the raining season. And in South America, there's only a wet and dry season. There's no in between like summer, spring, and fall. So during the dry season, they're going to be a little bit more dormant. They're going to wait for the food to come towards them. So if there's anything that's crawling by, they'll just snatch it.
Yeah, they're an opportunist.
Yeah, and then during the wet season, they'll be more active because that's during their mating season. So they kind of want to bulk up on food before they start doing their mating behavior. With him, I have no females. Maybe in the future, I'll maybe make little baby boa constrictors. And they actually, this is one of the species we have that actually doesn't lay eggs. They actually give birth to live young.
Oh, they give the live.
Yeah, so they're oviviparous, which
I
means...
thought that, yeah, snakes, well, wait a minute. Do all snakes, I thought they gave live births, but they don't? You're
not
saying
all of them. So yeah, funny enough, we actually have some snakes in New York State that actually will give birth to live young, like garter snakes and timber rattlesnakes. And that's to do with the environmental change. They evolve to incubate the eggs because laying an egg is too much moisture and the eggs will rot and the predators
Okay.
coming by. So a female can get about 8 to 9 feet long and weigh over 20 pounds. So she can have around 40 to 50 babies a year.
Okay.
And that usually will be like a 3.5 month or almost 4 month incubation period where the eggs are actually not in a hard shell, but it's almost like a gooey membrane.
A softer.
Yeah, softer membrane. So the babies all have their own yolk sac, just like a chicken egg, and they'll absorb by that yolk and develop. And then once the babies start kicking and moving around a bit, that will trigger the female to start to go into contractions and like start
Oh,
pushing
okay, so
out
that's all
babies.
internal when that goes on.
Yeah, so
Yeah, okay.
you can almost like when a female's ovulating, they have an oviduct, which almost works like a uterus. You can feel lumps going down her body. Usually the oviduct will be starting, it's kind of hard to put it here. You start usually right down here and go all the way down to the cloaca, which is right here.
I have to say this, but I've always understood that boa constrictors are dangerous because they're going to wrap themselves around you and kill you. And every time I see this guy, he's got this boa constrictor around him, and he's still alive.
Yeah.
So what's going on?
So it's just a really bad stereotype. It has to do with the cultural understanding of the animal. If a culture has more education, then they can understand the animal. That is
He's
not
just spotting the food here.
Oh no, he likes rats and guinea pigs.
Oh, okay.
Unless you put a rat
You didn't
on the
bring a
table,
rat or a
right?
guinea
No?
pig with you. Okay,
No.
Holly's okay.
It's okay. He was a little bit hungry too. So you can get killed by this thing. This is 6 foot long, so it could wrap around. But the reason why the animal's not going to try to kill or harm anyone is because there's no threats around here. There's a bunch of cameras, so he's probably a little bit confused about what's going on today. But if another animal or a person try to harm this animal, he's just going to defend himself. So I don't like to call animals aggressive. I usually say defensive.
Defensive, yeah.
Yeah,
They're just
defensive
trying
is
to
a better
protect themselves.
standard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay,
in
now,
the
what
jungles,
else?
they usually don't bother you. But yeah, let's bring.
Yeah, what else
actually,
have you
I'll
brought?
carry him because I have another South American animal.
Yeah, okay, good. And one, I think you're bringing out maybe the one, well, I like them both, the ones that she's bringing out. I know he's bringing out two more.
Yeah. So this
This
one
is
is
a
cute.
turtle.
Yeah, this is a redfoot tortoise, and she comes from the Amazon rainforest, just like where you find boa constrictors, and she's a little bit tiny for her size. She's going to get bigger. She's 6.5 years old, and she'll grow about the size of a small dog. So
really? That big?
So
well, they live a long time, don't they?
Yes, her lifespan's around 60 to 90 years. So right now she's about 6.5 years old. When they're born, they're like the size of like a little tangerine.
Yeah.
They're like little round eggs when they pop out. And they hang out in the jungle, and it'll take usually around 10 years or a little bit longer for a female to fully mature. The males grow faster in comparison, just with the hormones. And with her, when she's a full adult, she'll grow about 1 foot long and about 2 to 3 inches wide. And a male gets about 2 feet by 10 inches wide. And you find them in Guyana, Colombia, Brazil, Ecuador. And there's actually an island in Guyana where they actually breed redfoot tortoises for food or pets, and they're actually double the size.
Oh,
so they're actually around 2 to 4 foot range, where they're actually a little bit larger than normal.
You can make a turtle soup. I know that. It's not something I would go out of my way for, but it's certainly, they're edible. But I like to think of them as creatures that need space and live along.
Yeah, I like her just in her shell. I don't. If I was really desperate, then I guess maybe
I don't know.
I'd try it.
Well, who knows? I might go for the crickets first.
Yeah.
So this is a turtle.
A tortoise. Yeah.
A tortoise.
So
is there a difference between a tortoise and a turtle?
So the reptile groups, there's squamata, which are reptile lizards, crocodilians, which are crocodiles and alligators, and then chelonians, which are turtles and tortoises, and terrapins.
Terrapins are the turtles.
Yes,
right?
terrapins are like saltwater, they're brackish.
Oh, okay, so it has to do with where they live. Yeah.
Yes. So with tortoises, their feet are very round, almost like an elephant. I don't know if the camera can see it really well, but almost like elephant feet too. So they help them walk just on land, so they can't swim. The best you can do in water is just like a mud puddle, so if it just flooded in a little crevice, she can soak in there. But if it goes water above her shell, she can drown.
She can drown.
Yeah.
Okay.
So only walking on land and digging, and these feet actually help her dig for like little grubs, so they'll eat like insects, baby mice. She's a picky eater, so I know.
What do you feed her?
I feed her crickets, collard greens, pumpkin, blueberries, pinky mice, bird eggs. So she kind of gets a mixed diet of everything.
Your smorgasbord must be really interesting.
Yeah, so our aquarium usually has we have like 3 big freezers right now, just a mix of food. So not just all the seafood, but also for like terrestrial animals, they need crickets and vegetables and fruits and rodents. We just got a new stock today of food, so now we have to like just organize everything, and then I know she's gonna be hungry later. And she has a great sense of smell, so she can smell everything on that table right next to you of all the food.
Well, it's not for you, sweetie. Okay, and what else have you brought? Because this is the one that usually terrifies everybody, but it's harmless.
Yeah. So this one I gotta be a little bit more careful with. It's not a reptile.
No, it's an arachnoid, right?
Arachnid.
What?
Arachnid?
Arachnid.
Yes.
Nid, not noid. Nid.
Let's see if I can put you on my neck.
Okay, well, I love your boa. That's why they call him boas, I think, because he's wearing it like a boa.
Yeah. It's kind of like a fashion statement, too.
Yeah. Now this, I know a lot of people get upset about spiders. I never injure a spider. I usually bring them outside. And I never, ever, ever kill a snake because they're the ones that are taking care of all the other stuff in the garden that shouldn't be there.
Yeah, these are actually the best indicator species
they are.
that have. So spiders and snakes, if you have them around your house, that means you have an infestation. And this one, you're not going to really see unless you live out in Arizona in the desert, like an RV or something. So this is I'll try to get her out.
That's a tarantula, but it's not the black one. It's, don't tip over. Oh, poor baby.
Oh, no, it's okay. So I just want to make sure, I just want to slowly tip her. So she can grab onto the substrate. This is an Arizona blonde tarantula.
Now, do snakes like tarantulas? Just checking.
He's gonna smell
I don't want to
Oh, that'd be really messed up.
That would be nasty.
We have to like cut it like they're like, she just ate something. So this is Tina right here, and she's an Arizona blonde tarantula.
Is she poisonous?
Not poisonous, but venomous. So poison's ingested, inhaled, or absorbed through the skin. So like a pufferfish has toxic glands. If an animal ate it, they'll get poisoned.
Yeah.
So she has venomous fangs. Let's see if I can.
So she has to really
chop you to get you. But she's very slow. And I'll even show you. I'll put it right on my hand. Let's see if I can angle her.
Yeah, don't startle her, please. I know.
Oh, you're okay,
do we have an EMT in the room?
So their venom is like a bee sting, so I'm not worried that she's going to try to bite me. And these guys walk really slow. They're docile.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about them. The ones you usually have to worry about is something like a brown recluse or a
What do you
black
feed
widow.
that one?
I just feed her crickets.
Crickets, okay.
She actually has a slow metabolism, just like reptiles. They don't eat as often. I'll try to get her.
And that's
Walk
called
this way.
a Arizona blonde
Arizona
tarantula.
blonde. They're sexually dimorphic, so all the females have the nice blondish hairs around their body, and the males are about half her size smaller, and they usually have a dark brown or dark black body. The males don't
Do
even
they
live
survive
long.
mating? I'm just curious.
Not really.
Okay.
So
That's what I thought.
it's like,
Most of those blondes, I'll tell you.
yeah, it's a 50-50, just like with all spiders. The
Yeah.
males usually don't live long after the last molt, so it's like a kind of have to speed up and try to find a female. So they'll spend the last months trying to mate, and then once they find a female, they have to do a dance. So a male actually will kind of coax a female right out of the den. They live on the desert floor, and they'll make little tunnels. So what the male will do, he'll tap and get the female excited to come out. The female might be hungry, so she might think that's a cricket or cockroach coming by, and she might just grab him, don't give him a chance to
She
do his
just
introduction.
devours it. Yeah,
Yeah, right there.
Whoops, that's a whoops.
If he actually does his little magic work, he has like a split second, the female will kind of go into like a trance. He'll kind of put up her legs and plant the sperm. If that
doesn't work,
if that doesn't
well.
work, she'll just eat him right there. He has like a split second
It's like
to
a
escape.
praying mantis, you know.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
the praying mantis, they'll kind of just let it happen and die, and then
Yeah.
still do their mating. For the spiders, they try to get away because they want to reproduce one more time before they die, but it usually doesn't end up like that. It's usually a one-time shot, and that's it. I'm happy not to do that. None of us get our
Well,
head in.
I tell you, we're out of time, but I want to
Oh,
thank you,
yeah, no
Duncan, for
problem.
being, or Duncan, I'm sorry. I got your
Randolph.
last name first because I do know a Duncan. That's why I flipped there.
okay.
Randolph. And you can meet Randolph, by the way, if you go to the Viaport Aquarium, and that's over at the former Rotterdam Mall. And believe me, it's worth a visit, both the aquarium and the reptiles. They're just amazing. And to have it right here in our area is even more amazing. And to have you on the show is really amazing.
Yeah, well, glad
I'm
you
really
stopped by next
glad
time.
you brought it. And one thing we didn't, I have a picture of, but he didn't bring, is that tailless scorpion. He told me he had a scorpion,
yes.
and I looked, I said, where's its tail? And he says, this one doesn't have a tail. I said, I thought all scorpions did, but they don't. So you teach me something every time I talk to you.
Yeah, next time I'll try to bring it in.
That'd be great. Come
All right.
again.
You
Okay,
too.
thank you for
Bye.
being here. And we're going to switch right over to Holly. Holly, you've got this food, and congratulations. Nobody ate it.
Nobody ate it.
Nobody ate it. Nobody came from the table over here. Were you a little concerned? I was.
I found his presentation extremely interesting.
Wasn't it?
It was very, very
Now,
interesting.
you're
I
going to
didn't know
get a
lot
bearded
about
dragon
that.
for a pet?
I
or a
don't think
tarantula?
so.
But right now, we're talking about the Armenian. You usually have a big festival, which is marvelous and has everything in crafts and everything.
Yeah.
But this time, due to COVID, things have changed.
Due to COVID, last year we switched to a drive-through, which was
I
very,
love that.
very
Yeah.
successful. And
Do you have to order ahead? Because I really want to order. So.
yeah, so you can order. There are 4 drive-throughs.
7th, 14, 21, and I
and
think
June 4th.
Right.
Yes. So Monday through 2 p.m. Friday, you can order at our website, stpeterarmenianchurch.com, and up will come the order form, the menu, the prices. Every week is almost the same menu. What will be standard every week will be the Armenian hamburger, which is
Why is that hamburger Armenian?
because of the spices that
Okay,
are put
all right,
in it.
good.
Yeah, so the very authentic Armenian spices.
And what are your spices usually? I mean, you use like cardamom and
Well, this is a lamb and beef
I
mixture.
love lamb. Oh my God,
Yeah, and allspice, onions, garlic. It's a nice concoction of different
because
things.
I've had your Armenian pizza and it's just like amazing.
Yes.
Well, I
yeah.
don't know. It's not really pizza, but
well,
you know.
no, it is Armenian pizza,
Okay.
and that is going to be sold by the dozen the first week.
Okay.
And if there's anything left over, that'll be sold by the dozen the second week. But after that, I'm pretty sure it will be all out. And that's just a flatbread with lamb and a
It's delicious.
concoction
Oh
of,
my goodness, it's so good.
of different spices and onions and things. And the other
It looks like
item,
a baklava, but it isn't.
well,
I
we're
think.
getting there. This is the chicken.
Oh, yeah. I thought what you were pointing to was that.
This is the zesty chicken, and each the chicken and the burger are served with Armenian coleslaw on top. The other thing that we're serving is the cheese butt egg, and that is phyllo dough buttered. And
Of course, you got to get that fat on there.
Yes,
No, I mean,
yes.
because I've tried to make baklava, and it's like,
Yes, you
yeah.
have to put the butter on there. So this has a couple different kinds of cheeses in there, an egg, and it puffs up very nicely. This is each, which is cracked wheat that has caramelized onions and peppers and
I make
tomatoes.
wheat. I make the wheat, the
cracked
whole wheat and the cracked
yes,
wheat. Yeah,
yes.
because it's a good grain.
It's very healthy, very healthy.
So this one you add onions to.
This we add onions. Yep, you saute the onions till they're caramelized. Add the little bit of red pepper, some green pepper, lots of tomato puree, and just let it sit and
Let those
come
flavors
together. Yes.
get married.
Yes, absolutely.
And then you add the cracked wheat to it.
Yes, yes. And this is, of course, our rice pilaf, which is a staple that will come with
Everybody loves that. Yeah.
Yeah, this will come with the burger and the chicken.
So the idea really is to order 2 dinners.
Absolutely.
So you can taste both.
Absolutely.
And you know what? You can freeze one. Well, sort of. Well, yeah, most
Well,
of that
you
stuff
know
is
what?
freeze.
It'll never make the freezer.
I know.
It'll never make the freezer.
You put it
So-
in and you have it for lunch, and
Yes.
then you nibble on it for
for
dinner, and then for
it's
breakfast you say,
gone.
"Oh, what the heck?
It's
I'll just
gone.
finish it off."
And then you order it again next week.
Exactly.
The following week. So, and then of course we have the baklava, which most people are familiar with. That's the layered phyllo dough with lots of butter in between, and the nuts have cinnamon and sugar, and then you put a nice syrup over the top. And
My
just
mouth is
let it-
watering. My
Yeah.
goodness. Go ahead.
And then this is chadaif. It's a cream chadaif. So chadaif is the same type of dough except that it's shredded. And of
You
course,
shred the phyllo dough.
well, it comes shredded.
Oh, it comes shredded.
Yes,
and,
yes.
and then what do you do with it?
You separate the pieces out, and then you put butter on it, and then you put it on the bottom of the tray, and then you put a nice cream mixture on top of that.
You
and
don't
then,
cook it then.
And then you put more chadaif dough on top of that, and then you bake it
With the cream in it?
with the cream in it.
What kind of cream do you use?
The whole cream.
Just
yeah.
whipped cream? Like whipping cream?
No, heavy cream.
Heavy cream?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
And,
you-
then you put the syrup over the top after it's done being baked, and it is absolutely
Now,
delicious.
I need to know, because when I order my dinner,
Okay.
do you get a dessert with it, or you buy those separate?
You buy that separate. What comes in the dinner is either the chicken or the burger with pilaf, and then you order the each separate, you order the bed egg separate, and you order the dessert separately.
So you can really have a feast.
Yeah, and it's very reasonable.
Yeah, and I mean, I know that we had it up on the screen,
Yes.
the thing, I think $13 or something.
$13 for each of the meals. The desserts are $3.50 a piece, or 4 pieces for $10, and you can get a combination of both of the desserts.
Yeah, so you get 2 of each.
Yes.
My mouth is watering.
Yes.
My goodness.
Yeah.
So what prompts you to do this, to raise money for what?
For our church, for the different programs that we have
And what kind of
going on.
programs do you have?
We have, of course, our priest runs most of the programs, and the community does, and then we do some community services. We've done some things for Armenia. We do some things for our diocese. Because of what happened in
I think we should address that, because we're talking about food,
Right.
But there was a genocide.
Yes.
I mean, previously.
Yes.
And
yes.
and now again
It
we're seeing
happened
the
again.
same thing happen. And
Yes.
I know that your church has been kind of vocal about it.
Yes.
Which is important. But what can be done? I mean, I hate to get into politics, but I think it's important that we address this, because this is a very important thing, especially for your church and for
Right.
your group.
I remember growing up, and my grandparents were in the genocide, and I remember going to church. I hope I don't cry. I remember going to church, and the Armenian ladies would be crying because of what happened to their families.
Right. It was a Holocaust.
It was, yes. It was the first time the word genocide was used. It just happened again in Artsakh, which is part of Armenia. It's
Right,
separated by the mountain. And we continually say that we don't want this to happen again.
Yeah, we've learned from the past.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right, we have.
Yes, and so
Maybe we've learned to do it more efficiently. I don't know, but it's very disturbing.
It is very disturbing, and it's disturbing to see the pictures, and we try to help those people that
For what purpose? Is to just get more land? To just annihilate a group of people? I mean, what purpose do we do these things?
Religion,
land.
land.
Yeah, belief.
Yeah, religion, land.
Yeah, we see that in China, you know, with the Uyghurs.
Rwanda.
Yeah.
The
Rwanda, that was a terrible genocide.
Places that we don't even know that it's happening right now.
And we're going to learn from the past, right?
Well,
wink, 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 wink.
I think the more the people that have been through these experiences try to help the people that are going through those experiences, just like when earthquakes happen. The earthquake happened in 1988 in Armenia. And now our churches, or our diocese, continues to try to help those other countries because of all the help that people gave us.
Yeah, to them.
Well, so you do learn, you do help.
But the evil people don't ever seem to learn. I mean, they've got their agenda, and that's it. It broke my heart when I saw what happened, what was going on. It happens in, like you say, in every country. There seems to be some conflict between a religion, or whether it's a race or anything, you name it. I mean, you fill in the blank.
Yes.
But we never seem, I mean, maybe you and I learn, but not everybody learns that we need to live in peace.
Well, if we look at, what's happening in, with the Taliban and the girls that are getting educated over there.
Afghanistan, they're worried about that now.
Right. So that generation of young men and women are going to be educated, and hopefully in 10 years will
kind of get away from some of
at least some of the people.
Yeah. Well, Holly, I'm hoping that you have a really great turnout of people, and I hated to leave it on a somber note, but I think it's something that should be addressed.
It's education.
It should be addressed.
Yeah, just be sure to order Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Friday.
And you can order, and then you pick it up on Friday, Flavor Fridays.
Between 5 and 7 p.m.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Just for dinner.
Just for dinner.
Holly, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
This has been lovely. I love the flowers, too. It just kind of gives a little brightness. And I'm so glad that the little critters that were here didn't launch into it before you did your segment.
Me too.
Thank you for being here.
Thank
I'm going
you.
to take, we're going to go to our next guest, which is Mickey Kahn, I believe. And we're going to be talking about Juneteenth. What's going on, Mickey?
You ready to talk?
Yeah, absolutely.
Betty's going to join us.
Okay. Yeah. So Mickey is here.
Juneteenth is a special holiday this year, more special than in the past, because this year it is an official New York State holiday.
Isn't that wonderful? I saw that and I thought, oh, that's great. And then I thought, I got my first message that we might not be able to have it this year. And I'm going, what? Not this year. Do the stuff.
All years not to have it.
Yeah.
So we decided we're going to do Juneteenth. The city is behind us.
And when is it going to be? Is it the 19th?
June 19th, which is the actual day of Juneteenth. Juneteenth, just for your listeners, is a celebration of the end of slavery. Although there was the Emancipation Proclamation.
There was a couple of end of dates in there. I mean, it was like I thought it was done, but no, it's not done. It's,
Yeah. So now, it's, from 1865, with the federal soldiers were sent to Texas, which was
Texas, they were the last holdout.
Right. And then they actually took over Texas for a little while to ensure that slavery would in fact be ended. Yeah. And so that's why we celebrate June 19th, Juneteenth.
Yeah, why is it there's always a few holdouts? They just don't want to go.
Well, it's interesting today, all of the states except for South Dakota and Hawaii have, North Dakota finally.
Betty is with us too. We got Betty here too. You're not the silent partner.
I remember though that North Dakota did finally give in.
Yes, and they're pretty certain that Hawaii will.
Wait a minute. When you say give in, are you saying that they don't believe in Juneteenth, or they don't believe that slavery has ended?
It's not a legal holiday.
It's not illegal.
Oh, it's not illegal. I just want to make it quite clear what we're talking about here.
Right,
Okay.
right. So it's not that people can't celebrate Juneteenth in those places, but
It's not recognized.
it's not right.
Isn't that odd that, we had 50 states that did, and we got 2 that are,
Yeah.
there's always the holdouts, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, we've been celebrating it this is our 21st
I think,
celebration.
from the beginning. I mean, I remember
Right.
going over to the,
But it's the first
the museum.
legal. It's the first
It's
legal.
legal.
First
so,
time when-
I mean, they allowed us to celebrate, but not legally until this year.
Or it wasn't a legal
Everything
holiday.
seems to move very slowly when it comes to that, and I'm really sorry that it had to be such a long, drawn-out affair, but at least some legislator said, hey, let's move it along,
Right, right. And I think it was, the climate was right with all of the things that happened last summer and over the year with the COVID virus, and people taking another look at the impact of racism on African Americans.
Oh, I mean, this has been a year that, if this hasn't highlighted
Everything.
what is going on in some arenas, I don't know. I mean, it's probably not everywhere, but there seems to be that, and when you see it in the police force, or you see it in where people that count are making things happen in the negative, we really need to take a second look at it. There's no question about it. George Floyd certainly raised the flag on that one.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So you're raising money. Do you need any more money, or have you
Yes,
emptied
we
out
do.
your pocket?
We need those checks. We need cash.
Bring
we
'em
need
Yeah.
whatever.
And what do you
people
need
can
it for?
spare.
What do you need it for?
Well, the Juneteenth has always been celebrated in Schenectady as a free event.
Yeah, you did at Central Park usually.
Yeah, in Central Park.
Well,
And I've been to
actually-
it. They're great events.
It actually starts the day before. We start our celebration, say for instance, this year is the 19th, but on the 18th, we begin the celebration.
Okay.
We celebrate our ancestors at Vale Cemetery.
I went to that, and you have a cemetery
did,
plot
yes.
there.
Yes.
Oh, I should have brought the video, because I videotaped it. It was a wonderful, wonderful experience. It was an
Simpkins,
experience for me.
Yes.
Yeah, Walter
yes.
Simpkins
Walter.
he takes the reins and he does that complete program. And normally,
And there's a special area, and I
Yeah,
think because
it's-
years ago when this
it
happened,
is
there was
the
no
area,
integration, I guess,
yeah.
in cemetery plots either. Who
Well,
knew?
it's the area where they found that there were a lot of slaves
Okay.
buried. So now they cleaned, the colleges got together and
Yep.
they cleaned that area
Big
up,
effort.
and it's really, really looks good, and it stays looking
Yeah,
good.
and it
now.
does.
Walter does Walter Viney every year, and he talks a little bit about that, and it's a great beginning. And then normally we have an ice cream social afterwards.
Yeah, the ice cream truck is right there. You got the music going and everything.
Yes, Stewart's Ice Cream donates that. So hopefully they donated this year. I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
I think-
Yeah, I
pretty
think they
sure that
will.
they
Yeah, they're
will.
pretty good about that.
Yeah.
So
So
that's you
You asked what the money
Yeah,
was
what
for.
the, yeah.
Yeah, so first of all, the city supports us in the sense of encouragement, but we have to pay for the use of the park.
I know. See, people don't realize that.
Exactly.
They don't realize. And I've worked on projects, and you find out you're going to have a project. They say, okay, you got to pay for the trash pickup, you got to pay for extra police, you got to pay, and we're saying, what?
Right, right. So there are all of these sort of background expenses
That nobody knows.
no one is aware of. And then we want to pay when we can, or pay some amount to the performers in recognition of
Absolutely.
their talents.
Yeah, if you can.
That's right. So,
And you still are going to keep this a free event, so it's like you're not getting
Right.
money coming into the door.
So we
Exactly.
depend on our sponsors.
Who are some of your sponsors, or do you have them yet?
This year is it's a little different because we just got the okay like a month ago.
Yeah, I know you did.
Usually we start this process around January. And we start getting everything together. We have our sponsors by now. We have them on the posters and all. So right now it's a little.
You're still in
lingering
process,
around.
and we're talking about we're in,
But we also, yes.
and June isn't far away.
Exactly.
Right.
We also were very fortunate to have free printing every year, but unfortunately this year we're not getting that. So
Printers have been hit pretty hard. I mean, just if we look at the COVID thing, they're not making up programs, they're not making up flyers, they're not making up handouts, they're not making up. I mean, think about that. They've been hit hard, and all the venues have been hit hard.
Right.
There's been, and I can understand, they go, well, I got a job, I can't give it away free because I got to pay my employees and stuff. So I understand that.
Yeah.
But hopefully you'll get, but how do people donate? I mean,
Well, they
do
should.
they write you a check and mail
Yeah.
it to you? And what was,
Well-
tell our viewers.
Okay, so what we have are categories of sponsors. So you can choose to be a sponsor anywhere from $5,000, if you have it like that.
Aim high.
That's right. Down to 100.
Okay.
We'll take that, and then you'll get certain perks being a sponsor.
And how would they do? Do you have a website? Do
We
you have
a
Facebook
website.
or what?
Yes. This is actually a program that comes out of the Hamilton Hill Arts Center.
So we should go to the
So it's-
Hamilton Hill Arts Center
it's
and
the
then go to
website.
Juneteenth.
Yes.
And then-
all of the information
The
about advertising, we do a program book, and we take ads in the
Okay.
program book that pays for hopefully this year will pay for the printing, which, as Betty said, had been free in the
It's
past.
always been free in the past. So we did find a printer that was willing to take half
Little
as an
discount.
in-kind
Yeah.
Yeah.
for us. And we've been fortunate enough to, someone came to us willing to do the layout for
free.
no charge
Yeah,
at
yeah.
all. And that is
That's
really
a big
blessing.
thing. That's a
because
blessing.
that's,
Yeah.
and
Do you want to
that's-
name the printer to give them a little boost since they're?
Yes, the Knott Street office.
Okay.
Which,
Oh, they're great
they
guys.
are so
Yeah, they're
great.
Greg out there. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's really a great guy, and they
Yeah.
really seem to want to be
Yes.
part of the community.
And the young man that is going to be doing the layout for us to get to the printer is from my nephew's fraternity. And I actually asked my nephew how to pronounce his fraternity this morning, and he did let me know, but unfortunately I left my paperwork over there, so.
It's one of
but
those Kappa things, I guess.
Yeah, it is. Iota, I do remember that.
Iota,
but,
okay.
There's 5 or 6 of them that are volunteering with us this year.
That's
and
great.
this young man, his name is Chris.
Oh,
Oh,
gosh.
I do know that he works for.
They didn't come with any little
Yeah.
papers, so you know we got to remind them all up here.
He works for Assemblywoman Joyner.
Okay.
So I do remember that, and I hope that was okay to say that.
Yeah,
But-
sure. Fine.
But it was just a blessing.
Well, first of all, we want to remind people that if you want to support this event, and it's the first year that it's a holiday in New York State anyway, we need your support. And go to the Hamilton Hill Arts website, which you can just Google Hamilton Hill Arts and it'll come up. And then go to Juneteenth.
Yes.
And then look at the
all the
page to see all the levels that you can. I'm sure that no donation is too small.
That's
But they're
right.
looking for, you know, come on,
Yeah.
dish it out a little bit. You got your stimulus check.
Yeah.
Come on.
And I
Give a
might
little-
add, excuse me, but
No, go right
I
ahead.
might add, if you have a problem with going online or anything like that, you are more than welcome to call myself, Betty Harper, at 518-312-6129, and Mickey Kahn at
518-364-8898.
Okay, good. So we've got a couple of phone numbers there. And please, you know, check it out and try and support this because this is going to be a year that they really want to celebrate. And I want to thank you for both of you for being here. Betty, thank you so much. It's always
Thank
a
you for
pleasure to see you. And
having
you look
us.
fabulous
Always.
today.
Thank
She
you.
always comes so well coordinated. So much fun to see you. So,
You
yeah.
too. You
And I'll let you go, and then I'll finish up with Mickey here. So, Mickey, we want to make sure that we get plenty of money coming in for your organization and for this, well, not your organization, but for this event. And let's hope that some checks will start rolling in for you because of this appearance, and this will also be on YouTube, and we'll promote it as well.
Great.
So thank you for
so
being
much
here.
for letting
Yeah, it's
us
always
come
great
and-
to see you. And we've got another great guest coming up. We're going to be talking about fashion, and you know, Betty Harper just left with a fashion here, but we'll find out more about what's going on at the Schenectady Historical Society. They have an exhibit coming up, and it's called Fashion, and I believe the name of it is, I think I have it right here. I'm waiting for my guest to come on. Is, let's see, it's called Fashion and Text, it's called, I don't have the name in front of me. I guess I did. What is the name of it? It's called Fashion, and then
It's called Redesigning Fashion.
That's it. I had it written down here, yeah.
Perfect. It's Transgression and Identity in Historic Dress.
Okay, good. So what I found really interesting about this when I read about it is that you worked with the school in Oneonta for their
Correct.
fashion and textiles.
Yep.
But what they did was they researched I didn't even know you had any fashion there.
Yeah, we actually have a really wonderful collection of historic textiles at the Historical Society. Most of the collection is women's fashion, so that is what the exhibit is going to be based on, is women's
And you
women's
sent
dress.
some fashions, but on the other hand, they had to design fashions.
They did, yeah. So we were able to work with them. They studied sort of the role of women's dress in society and culture, and sort of how that's changed over time. And then they each chose a dress that inspired them. They researched the history of that dress, and then
And how did they find that? I mean, where do you find the history of a dress?
Well, some of the information came from us. For the information that we didn't have, they did what students do. They went to the library and they figured it out. And then they were able to design and create a garment based on that
Okay.
history. So the exhibit will display both the students' finished garment and the historic garment side by side.
So tell me what they did. They looked at, say, well, there they are right now. They're going to bring up a couple. But let's talk about these two dresses here.
So the one on the right is from 1901. It's a woman's day dress, and then the one on the left was worn by Hannah Skimmerhorn, who
The Skimmerhorns,
yes,
yeah.
they are a local Schenectady or Capital Region family.
Yeah.
And it's probably, I think it's 1830s or 1840s.
Would that be something
And it
they
would have
wear
been a
during
day
the
dress.
day, or
Yeah,
would
so
they
it's a
just
day
wear
dress.
it at evening, or what?
It's a day dress. It was worn by a young woman, probably a summer dress. It's very light, and that actually would have been worn over what they call a crinoline cage, which is essentially just a very large collapsible skirt.
Yeah, we saw those in Gone with the Wind,
Yes,
didn't we?
exactly. So that would have had a very, very large sort of hemline around it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So they looked at those dresses, and they tried to make something contemporary. Is that
Yes,
what you're saying?
Exactly. So they studied the history, they looked at the silhouettes, and then they designed something for a modern wearer. So something that someone today would wear.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I hope they got extra credit for doing all
They
this.
did, yes. It was a special topics course at Oneonta.
Okay, now tell me, how many fashion items do you have? Because I have to admit, I never thought of you as having, I mean, I was thinking of jars and paintings and desks and this and that.
So yeah, I mean, we have quite a varied collection overall. We have textiles, we have quilts, but for garments, we probably have 100 to 200 different garments, and we also have a lot of fashion accessories, so hats, jewelry, purses, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's quite a varied collection. I mean, the Historical Society, we are still actively collecting Schenectady history, but we collect pretty much anything and everything related to Schenectady County and the region. So yeah, it's quite open to
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised because we saw the 3. All right, now tell me, I'm going to walk into the exhibit. What am I going to see?
So you will see both the student's completed garment as
Are
well
they
as
going to be right next to the other
yep,
one?
Yep,
Okay,
they'll be
so they'll be
displayed
side by side.
They'll be displayed side by side.
And how many students did you have
There was
involved?
8 total.
8, okay.
So we will have 16 garments altogether, and then we also will be using other items from our collection. So you'll see a lot of items related to sewing, to women's education, stuff like that.
Yeah. When you talk about a day dress, what is a day dress? I mean, you and I don't know what that means. I mean, we do know, but I mean, it's not something that we say, I'm going to go out and buy a day dress today,
Well, I mean, I think it would be similar to what we do today. I mean, we still wear different outfits for different occasions. So during the day, you'd probably wear something perhaps a little bit more casual. And then an evening dress would be something that you would wear for a public event, or for a dinner or something like that. So yeah, it's just more of a casual day garment.
What would the average woman say this Skimmerhorn that you mentioned? How many dresses would she have in her closet?
On average, you probably only have a few.
My grandmother had 3.
Yeah, the wealthier you are, the more clothing that you would have. And typically, especially in this time period, the mid 1800s, garments are mostly still being made at home, or perhaps by
you mean like
professional.
the clothing that we saw there? She had a seamstress make those. You don't buy them off.
No, it's not ready to wear. You're not really getting into ready to wear garment yet.
No.
No, so most of the production of clothing would have been done at home or by professional seamstresses and dressmakers.
No wonder they didn't. They couldn't go to the local Gap and buy
exactly,
3 things off the shelf.
So a lot of what happens, so I don't know if you're familiar with the ladies' magazines like Harper's Bazaar, the Godey's Lady Book. So these magazines would have fashion plates in them or illustrations of fashions, and most of these fashions would have come
And
over
you'd say,
from
I like
Europe.
that, can you make this for me?
Yeah, essentially, and a lot of these would also have patterns in them that you could recreate at home, and so that was a way that women could sort of express themselves and their own identities.
I never thought about that. I mean,
Yeah.
and of course, when you look at some of the old, things, old books and things, you see that they go into the dry goods store and they were buying bolts of...
They're buying bolts of fabric and they're taking that home and they're creating garments out of them. It's not really until the late 1800s, early 1900s that you get the rise of department stores and you get more ready-to-wear fashions happening, and people are actually going to the store and buying completed garments. But yeah.
Isn't that funny that, I never thought about that. I never thought about the thought that there wasn't always a place you'd walk in to buy a men's shirt.
It's definitely easy to forget about these days, especially since you can just go online and purchase something and have it at your doorstep the next day. But yeah, for a very long time, a lot of this was done at home. Even the creation of the fabric themselves.
They had their own looms?
Yeah, they had their own looms. So a lot of rural houses would grow their own flax. They would produce their own wool.
The alpacas to get their wool and things, right?
Yeah,
I mean, really.
to get their wool, they would card it. They would create yarn out of it, and they would weave it together. So yeah, so
We've come
from
a
start
long
to
way,
finish, yeah.
I don't know if it's
been
good
done
or
at home.
bad, because one of the things that I'm reading is that one of the biggest polluters is fabric.
It definitely is. Yes, the fashion industry is probably in the top 5 polluted industries in the world.
Yeah, because they want, change of fashion, change of fashion, change of fashion.
Exactly. Fast fashion is definitely an issue in today's world, and that's something to always.
And they
keep in
make
mind
it
as
so
well.
cheap. I mean that people will go out and buy, think nothing of buying 2 or 3
Exactly.
outfits and putting them in the closet, and then they sell them at a garage sale with the tag still on.
Exactly,
That's true. Now, so what kind of fabrics would these dresses be made out of if they're making their own? I mean, somebody's got to make the cloth.
Mostly all cotton and linen. So linen would have been produced largely. Linen fabrics would have been woven largely at home.
Forgive me. Where does linen come from?
Flax.
Flax.
yeah.
Okay, good. I know where silk comes from. So.
And then cotton. So they were importing or getting a lot of cotton from the south, and the Mohawk Valley especially had several industries or several factories that were producing cotton fabrics. Like in Cohoes was actually one of the largest producers of cotton in the 1830s, 1840s.
And then in Troy, I mean, they had all
Yep,
those shirt
in Troy as well,
factories
yep,
and everything like
yep.
that. And you go to Amsterdam and it's all
Exactly,
carpeting.
it's all carpeting. So there was a very large textile production here in the Mohawk Valley and in New York State in general.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you just made me realize that I never thought about the idea of the fact that you couldn't go out and buy something. You know, you had to, and not only that, but I guess in a way it would be very creative for women to take a look at a picture and say, I like this, but I don't like this on it.
Yes, yeah.
Can you
could
take
definitely-
that
yeah, you
off
can
and then just make it with more ruffles
Exactly.
on the sleeve or something?
Exactly.
So
Yeah,
you could create, so they were all fashion designers.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah. What other, I know that you're the curator at there. Do you have another exhibit coming up that in your mind? I'm not saying it's on the shelf, but. do you have-
So yes, we are, after this exhibit debuts next Saturday, I will be starting to work on the next exhibit, which will actually be out at Maybe Farm. And that exhibit will be.
Would that be in the hall, big hall?
Yes,
right?
in our
in the education.
in our
I
education
went
center,
blank
yeah.
for a second. I'm sorry.
And it's going to be on craftsmen and skilled workers. So we'll be talking a lot about like blacksmiths and carpentry and stuff like that, and sort of tying that into the modern day as well. And there's a resurgence of small businesses and artisans that are popping up all around. So
Well, that's interesting. I had Ellen McHale on the show, and they're doing one of their next ones is going to be on blacksmithing.
Oh,
you know.
wonderful. Yeah,
So
great.
it's kind of interesting that you're both kind of thinking of the same. Well, you're not totally blacksmithing, but you do have a blacksmith on your
we
land.
do, yes. John, who is also our property manager, he's our resident blacksmith. We do have a blacksmith shop on site at Maybe
Yeah.
Farm, and we do a lot of demonstrations during events. We do classes and stuff like that. He's really wonderful. at what he
That's
does.
great. Yeah, and you've got doing much. Are you going to have your summer concert series? Got your fingers crossed?
We are going to bring back Howlin' at the Moon. I believe they're going to be free for the first couple months.
Just to get people out,
Just to get
yeah.
people out, to see how it's doing. And they will have to be socially distanced still as well, but we have the property
But you'll
for
be
it.
outside.
Exactly, yeah. Either outside or in the barn, so there's lots of room to spread out.
No, we got all the rain now. There's not going to be any rain this summer.
I hope so. But we also have some new friends at the farm. We just got 2 new baby goats.
I know.
and-
You brought the pictures
and a
of the
baby
goats.
lamb. So yeah, we're very excited. We're very busy. We have little chickens, little baby chicks. So yeah, lots of activity going on at the farm.
Isn't
And
it
we're-
wonderful,
we're
though? I
now-
mean, and let's just hope that we can beat COVID
Yes,
without
for
our,
sure.
with our vaccinations, which will
Yes,
keep us all
yes,
safe.
definitely.
And maybe we can beat this darn
I hope so.
virus
Yes,
so that we can get
definitely.
back to whatever normal it was. I want to thank you for being here, Susie. It's always
you so
great to
much.
have you on
Yeah,
the
it was
show.
great to be here. I
I do
appreciate it.
want to mention who's coming up next week so that everybody knows who our next show is. We're going to be talking about anti-racism, and we're going to have Denise Murphy-McGraw. They've been doing a big initiative for racial conversations, and we're going to be talking about that. The Rotarians are going to be on. We're going to be talking about Trivia Night and how they're trying to raise some money as well for their projects. The Women's Employment Resource Center will be on as well, and we're going to be talking about what they're doing to help women get back into the workforce, if we can get back into any workforce at all, but I think we're doing pretty good now. Albany Civic Theater, they're hoping that they can get out there and start doing some productions, and I think they've got one planned. And then we have an author, and I have to laugh because the title of his book is Have a Very Bad Day. And I think some of us have had bad days this past year, but I think things are going to turn around for us. And we hope that you'll join us and learn about these new guests that are coming up on our next show. And we wish you a very happy spring, whenever it comes, because right now it's raining. But thank you for watching Capital Region Today. I'm Ann Pearl, your producer, host, and director. Thank you.